Hey everyone! In this video I'm going to show you how to create a color palette based off of an image in Adobe Illustrator. This can also be done in Photoshop, but we're going to learn how to do this in Illustrator. So to start, I want you to open Illustrator and you'll be directed to the home screen. I want you to create a new file. I would like it to be an 8.5 by 11 inch file, RGB color mode, and you can have it at a medium resolution. I'm going to give this a title of PLM Color Palette because that is our assignment name. Now I click Create and I have my document opened. So for this assignment, you're going to find an image that is inspired by your brand's mood board. This one needs to be particularly artistic and it needs to have great color. So first thing, I need to import my photo. So to do that, I'm going to go to File, Place, and I'm going to find my photo. I have this image on my desktop and I'm going to click Place and just click on my artboard and I have it placed here. The next thing I want to do is I want to embed this image. This will make it a part of my document so that when I open your documents, I'm going to be able to see your image. The next thing I want to do is I want to scale this down a bit. I'm going to hold down Shift and I have the scale tool activated at the corner of my image and I'm scaling it down just a little bit, and I'm going to place it right here in the center of my artboard. So for the instructions, it says that you should have an image that is 5 by 5 inches. So I'm going to create a square that is 5 by 5 inches. So I'm going over here to my rectangle tool, and I'm going to click and release, just as we learned, and I'm going to type in 5 inch by 5 inch. So now I have an image, or I have a shape here over my image that is 5 inches by 5 inches. And I'm going to scale down my image to fit here. So I can use this shape as a clipping mask. So all I need to do to crop this image into this square is to select both, and I'm dragging over both, and I'm going to click Make Clipping Mask over here in the Properties panel. You can also go up to the top menu, Object, Clipping Mask, and Make. And now I have my image. The next thing I want to do is I want to create my swatches. So I'm going to shift this over to the left a little bit. For the size of my swatches, I would like them to be 0.75 in height and 2 inches wide. So I'm going to go to my shape tool, my rectangle here, and I'm going to click and release. I'm going to put 2 inches wide and 0.75 inches in height, and I'm going to click OK. So I'm going to just fill this with a color that I can see, and I'm going to align my swatch right here alongside the top of my image. Now I'm going to copy this. I'm using Option Shift on my keyboard and dragging to copy this. You could also go to Command Copy, Command Paste, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could do 6. I think 6, anywhere between 5 or 6 colors would be great. So now that I have these filled here, I can distribute the distance between each of these swatches a little better by going up over here to my vertical distribution center in the Align panel. So I click that and you see here how all the space between these shapes are now perfect. Okay, so now we have the rectangles for our swatches. So now we need to create our color palette. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my first swatch and I'm going to go to my eyedropper tool. The shortcut is I on the keyboard, and I'm going to pick up this red color. And it's just a little different from the red I have selected right now. I'm going to click on my next rectangle and I'm going to click maybe this dark sky color. I'm going to click on my third rectangle and I'm going to click this medium blue, and now I'm going to click on my fourth and I'm going to click this really light blue. Next I'm going to click on the next color and I'm going to get somewhere in this like purple area. And you might need to make some adjustments. See, that's a little more purple right there. And then I might want to pick a color that's more in these mountains. and I might need to kind of click around and find a color, or I can also kind of adjust the color myself. So I see that this is supposed to be kind of an olive color, but because the image is kind of dark and I have it cropped, I might not be able to sample that color as well as I'd like. So I'm going to click here, double click into my color picker, and I'm going to bring this up and kind of find an olivey color. And I think that if this were brightened up a bit, this color would fit in just right. So now I need to set up my color palette, but first I'm going to get my document settled a little more. I'm going to select all of this, and I'm just going to make sure that it's centered. And you see my smart guides are on, and so once I hit here it says center. That means that these objects are now centered in my artboard. The next thing I need to do is I need to add these colors as a color group. So if you see here, I have some folders with colors inside them. I can create a folder with these colors inside of them in Illustrator, and this will make a color group. So to do that, you're going to select all these colors. You want to select the shapes themselves, and then you can go to your swatches panel, which looks like a little palette, and you can go to this folder here that says new color group, and I'll call this Mirage New, and I'm going to click OK. And now I see that all those colors are here in my swatches panel. If I wanted to save this swatch palette, I can go up here into my swatches panel in this hamburger menu, and I can click Save Swatch Library as an ASE or as an AI. And if I click here, this will save it inside Illustrator swatches, like the permanent swatches. So if I need to go back, I'll be able to load that palette. So if I want to find those swatches, I would go to Open Swatch Library and go to User Defined, and now I see my PLM color palette right there. The next thing you need to do is save this as an AI file. And I have this here. I'm going to put it on my desktop. You can go to File, Export As, and you're going to click Format, JPEG, and then you need to click this box, Use Artboards. And now this is going to create a JPEG file. My color palette and everything looks like this, but you can play around with it a little bit. You don't have to have rectangles. You could have squares. You could overlap them a little bit. You could align them to the bottom. It's not super strict, but I do want you to make sure that your composition feels balanced and that your color palette is relevant and it feels cohesive.